My name is Martin Wikelski. I'm a director at the Max Planck Institute for Ornithology and professor at the University of Konstanz. I'm here at the AEWA meeting because we are trying to establish a new global observation system for animals, especially also water birds, that allows us to monitor them around the globe and especially also find out why they have problems in certain areas and why they need specific areas in the world to survive. So this system is called ICARUS. It's short for International Cooperation for Animal Research Using Space. It is establishing, with the help of the German Air and Space Agency and the Russian Roscosmos Space Agency, a new observation system on the International Space Station in fall 2016. What this allows us to do is put very small tracking devices on animals on a global scale and then find out what they're doing, where they are, and how they survive. And these data are collected in a global database. This is important because we need to understand the context of where animals move, so which animals are in that vicinity. We need to understand the environmental context, the wind that is blowing in these areas, the temperature, the humidity, the moisture, all of these environmental factors, and then understand also how animals move together, because they are a collective of animals, they take collective decisions, and we need to understand how these decisions are being taken to really understand how animals move and how they also can be protected during this move. Because that's the key factor that we don't know yet for especially all of the small species, or most of the small species, which is the majority of species, namely the fact where they move, how to predict these movements. So we don't only want to observe them and then say, oh, they have moved here and there, but we want to say, oh, now the winds are blowing from this direction. We know animals take this decision, and therefore we can anticipate that they will show up at a specific place. And that may also help us to, in advance, seal off places for stopover sites or help animals during their movements. Our research covers the entire world because from space you can see the entire world as satellites go back and forth. This means that we can study the movement of animals with these new technical devices across the entire globe, except for the pole areas, because currently the International Space Station is not covering the poles of the Earth. So we can only do that once the animals come into lower latitudes. We can study them. We record what they're doing up on the poles as well, or towards the poles, or in the high Arctic, but we can only read out the data once they are lower down. So AEWA tries to protect a lot of the water-dependent migratory species. And this is also what we are doing or trying to do with this new system, because what's necessary to know is where do these species need specific habitats? Where do they look for water? Where do they look for food? What kind of places need to be protected? And to know exactly where those places are and what these animals need, we need to track individuals. We have to ask individuals, what are you seeing from your environment? How are you deciding based on your environment? And therefore, as the basis of the decisions for AEWA, you really need to know what these individual birds are doing out there, like storks, like ducks, like shorebirds, waders, all of those species that depend on water bodies or shore lines for their survival. The project has been going on since 2001. It's a long time in the making because these space projects are very tedious. They have lead times of 15 years plus. But now we are finally in the last phase, and it's going to be launched next year and then will be operational in 2017.